expected that everyone there was on a walker or a wheelchair or something, so I just did chair yoga. And after a few things of rolling our heads around and moving our arms and shoulders, everybody had big cheeks. So yoga could be adapted, but everybody sits up after yoga smiling. And I had a woman in one of my groups, she came into the program in a walker. After yoga, she got up and left the room and left her walker. She totally forgot. Didn't even need it. So I think these are things that are wonderful. Progressive muscle relaxation, mindfulness, I'll talk about in a second. Prayer, if people have a prayer practice, that's a way of eliciting relaxation. Autogenic training, and then as I spoke about, taking some time for dedicated cycles. So these are all different techniques that you can use. Autogenic training is working through different muscle sets of your body, imagining them becoming warm and heavy. Usually you're down one side of the body and then the other side. My arms really heavy. The fastest growing segment of our population is 75 years and older. This is great stuff. These are studies. Let me share this with you. People in their 70s report far fewer feelings of sadness, anger, and other negative emotions than people in their 20s. I don't think we care as much about things. We just don't get upset anymore. Right? The next one. People 60 and above have fewer interpersonal difficulties, experiencing less negative emotion, and behave less aggressively than younger people. This is great. People ages 18 to 75 were asked how often they felt sad, hopeless, worthless, or that everything was an effort. The least sad people were ages 65 through 74. This surprised me. This is really great stuff. Okay. Wrinkles should really indicate where smiles have been. That's Mark Twain. I have another great quote from Mark Twain. I'm an old man who's had a great many problems, most of which never happened. We imagine. Okay. Those who think they have not time for bodily exercise will sooner or later have to, this they've left out, sooner or later have to look at the date on this. So one of the most important tips for successful aging is to stay fit and have some kind of regular exercise plan. And I ask my patients to come in and tell us what they're doing. So they're walking, a lot of them take up water aerobics, many of them love yoga, they do Tai Chi, so you have the Zumba class, whatever it is. And you are never too old to get fit. Listen to this. As a gerontologist, Ross Andel, who's at the University of Florida Medical School, he took a group of people, the average age was 84. He randomized them to one of three groups. There was a group that was going to do weight training, there was a group that was simply going to do walking, and the group was getting no exercise. They were to exercise twice a week for 16 weeks. Both exercise groups showed lower blood pressure, greater shoulder and hip flexibility, improved balance, and I'm sure that if he had looked at people's moods, they would have been happier. So they experienced all kinds of health benefits as a result of doing exercise. Average age was 84. So Andel says we are never too old to get fit, so you can start doing anything at any point in time. Okay. 50% of people 74 years and older are inactive. Anything is possible with a little stretch of the imagination. And when I first saw this photo, I thought, this has got to be fake. This has got to be a Photoshop thing. This woman was a former dancer. She could do the splits anywhere. Right? Next. This is my former neighbor. This is Freddie Franklin. Some of you may have known Freddie. He was with American Ballet Theater. He just passed away a month ago at age 98. And he was in Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo, was also in the documentary by that title. And Freddie stopped dancing at age 95. He still performed up to age 95. He was the Padre in Romeo and Juliet. So just an incredible man, and fit and thin, and not an ounce of fat on his body, always doing, and he had a mind like a Rolodex. It was just incredible. This fellow is British, and he's 89 years of age, and to deal with his grief over his wife's passing, he decided he was going to take up wing soaring. This is wing flying, that's what he calls it. And he's strapped to a biplane here, and he's crossing the English Channel. His family tells him he's totally mad and insane. But this is what he loves this. Right? Okay, next. This is Ben San, and Ben San was written about in the New York Times. And he lives here on the Upper West Side. And almost every single day on his walker, he goes to the Jewish Community Center and he works out. And in the article in the New York Times, it said that he's very, very popular with all the female trainers. Or you can get together with your girlfriends and date. Now, this is supposed to say news and goods. I don't know why it's cutting off the other half of the slide. But if you have this handout, news and goods, I'm going to give you this little assignment. Every day, for the rest of your life, I want you to do something new and good for yourself. Now, you don't have to start until next Thursday, because coming here tonight is going to keep you covered for that many days, coming here for a new and good like this. News and goods do not have to cost money, and they do not have to be a big deal. But you do something new and good for yourself, and I want you to notice how you feel. And those of you who work with patients and clients, give them this little assignment. It's the best antidepressant in the entire world. You do something new and good, it's a big perk. So it might be something like this. If he's living with a box of chocolates, let's just do the top layer. Now, if our nutritionist were here, he would tell you that, if you like chocolate, get good, expensive, dark chocolate and have as much as you want, because it has phytochemicals and flavonoids in it. It is actually very good for you. So you have my permission. Another new and good might be calling someone that you haven't spoken to in a long time. It might be going to that film that I talked about, 20 feet from stardom. It might be taking an aromatherapy bath instead of a fast shower. It may be getting out and walking around New York, which is just sensational. But go over and walk through the park tonight. It's beautiful. Whenever you do something new and good, notice how you feel. I'm not eating, I'm self-medicating. Now, one of the 9 weeks going through the program is on nutrition. We have a great nutritionist who comes, and she'll tell us what your plate should look like. And imagine I'm standing here and I'm drawing a circle. This is your plate. I'm dividing it in half. I'm dividing one half into 2 halves. So I have a half and 2 quarters. Over here, this big half should be vegetables. Over here, we have protein and we have carbs. In America today, most people's plates do not look like that. We have masses of carbs or huge slabs of beef and all kinds of things. So that's what your plate should look like. And she'll talk about good fats, bad fats, omega-3 fatty acids, healthy snacks, things like that. And one of the things I want my patients in this group to do is to fix their own meals. You fix your own meals, you know where the ingredients are coming from. And working with cancer patients today, my patients are getting younger and younger and younger and younger. What is that coming from? It's coming from the things we eat and breathe. So one of the things I ask the nutritionist to do is show people how to read the food label. And if you buy processed foods, we can't even understand what the first 5 ingredients are. They're all chemicals. Then get that stuff out of your diet. So if you fix your own food, you can make healthy meals. Well, I eat alone again. Well, cook for other people. Have people over. People love to come in and share meals with you. Right? Almost every Saturday night I have friends over. It's just so much fun cooking for other people. They're so grateful. And to me, it's a creative thing to do. So there's a whole session on nutrition. Mindfulness. Now, imagine mindfulness is being present and focused in the moment, which is all we have. Imagine that I'm standing up here and I have a big flip chart. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make a square, and I'm going to label that square past. Now, this varies from person to person. We spend about 40% of our awake thinking time ruminating about the past. I should have, I could have, why didn't I? going to come over here. I'm going to make another square, and I'm going to label this future. We spend about 50% of our awake-thinking time worrying about later today, tomorrow, next week, next month, 6 months from now. All the what ifs, what if, jumping to conclusions and fortune telling. So you've got 40% here, and you've got 50% here. Look what's left. A tiny little slice of time. Maybe on a good day, you spend 10% of your awake thinking time being present and focused in the now, and the now is all we have. And people are all over you, right? So I try to train people to constantly stay focused and present and in the now. How many of you have read anything by Eckhart Tolle, T-O-L-L-E? Brilliant man. He was at the Beacon Theater a couple of years ago. He's written many, many books, one of which is called The Power of Now. And if you're interested in him, and get his CD, listen to him speak, because he's a really interesting voice and a very profound message. So it's trying to stay in the now and not getting off in any of these end zones. And if you're focusing on the past, it's done. It's over. You can't erase it. You can't change it. It's a total waste of time. You learn from it and move on. If you're over in this box, this is made up. You can't know about 9 o'clock tonight. Maybe imagine, but we can't know all kinds of things could change. So we can't know about tomorrow. So this is made up. So always try to go back and focus on what's taking place in it. Now this is mindlessness. One of my patients sent me this photo. I love it. This guy is doing at least 6 things. And it certainly isn't, paying attention to his driving, and maybe there's a pedestrian in front of him. As a pedestrian, I would never walk in front of him. He's doing at least 6 things. Multitasking. Do any of you know of Ned Hallowell? There's a Hallowell Center up here on 72nd Street between Broadway and Amsterdam, and Ned has many, many centers in Massachusetts. They're centers for people who have ADD and ADHD. And Dr. Hallowell has written many, many books, but one of his books is called Crazy Busy. And in that book, he has a chapter called The Myth of Multitasking. And you read it, our brains are not wired to do more than one thing at a time. If we multitask, we're actually wasting time because we're starting, stopping, starting, stopping. And so it's trying to be in the now again, focus and present with what's going on. Now, this is being mindful and focused to the 10th power. I love skateboarders. I'm going to take this under my next life. This is Danny Way. And Danny Way is one of the top skateboarders in the entire world. And in this photo, he's skateboarding over the Great Wall of China, which I'm told is 3 chariots wide. If for any moment Danny Way takes his focus off of what he's doing, he's finished. Okay? So bring this kind of presence and focus into every single thing that you're doing. Stay in it. So you must be present to win. I spoke a little bit earlier about aerobics for the mind, and you do all kinds of things to challenge yourself. Play a musical instrument, take classes, learn a new language, write poetry, new body movements, whatever it might be. Continuous active engagement with life is the key aspect of successful aging. I've already told you that. That's vital engagement. I put this in here. This is my friend Mimi. Mimi is a professional model. She's on the left-hand side. She's 94. This is a Prada ad. And I look at this and I think, well, who is the most chic in this photo? Is it Mimi or is it the 18-year-old guy with her? It's Mimi. She was in a documentary called Hats Off. And the last time I saw Mimi, she said, "Okay, Mimi, MAC Cosmetics is calling." This is the 100-year-old bat boy for the Boston Red Sox, and he started being a bat boy when Babe Ruth was around, and the Red Sox had him come out at the opening game every season. I love this. This is May LeBrode, and May LeBrode at age 89 moved to Hollywood to fulfill one of her lifelong dreams, which is to become a movie star. She's 93 now. She's 4'7". She's been in Maytag ads, Lexus, Ben Stiller movie, and in a film with Tom Cruise. Adorable.
Is she Scientology? She's having his next baby.
What courage. She moved to Hollywood at age 89 and decides she's going to do this. It's wonderful. I put Willie Nelson in here because Willie Nelson has never stopped. And he was playing at Radio City Music Hall. He's probably coming back again this year, too. But fabulous stuff. Iris Apfel. Do any of you know of Iris? She's a fashion icon. She lives here in Manhattan. And she has incredible clothes. And there's a book about her. Someone's doing a documentary about her. And the Met Museum had an exhibit of all of her clothes on mannequins. And she keeps her clothes in a warehouse, and they're stored according to, what sort of a party she went through and what decade and all of this. But she's just remarkable looking. A total inspiration. Iris Apfel. I put the Rolling Stones in here. I don't care how many drugs they've done. The Rolling Stones are aging really well, and they haven't stopped, and they're all fit. And they just performed in Boston last month. And if you go to see that film that I was talking about, 20 Feet from Stardom, Mick Jagger is interviewed over and over, and these guys are fabulous. They have so much energy. I put Cher in here because Cher has never stopped either. She was just in New York City for Gay Pride and was interviewed and still has the same body.
Well, she's also had a lot of surgery.
Probably.
Yes.
Having your dreams fulfilled is far better than having them analyzed. I put Tony Bennett in here. Tony is 89. Tony is still performing. He will be at Radio City Music Hall in October.
He's a wonderful painter.
He's a wonderful painter. Tony's music was very, very popular, and then it sort of fell out of favor. Tony didn't get depressed and disappear. He took up oil painting, and he's very, very successful at oil painting. He's had shows all over the world, but now his music is popular again. He's got new recordings with a lot of young female vocalists, singers, etc. And look at how handsome he is. 88, 89. It's great. I'm telling you, Ed, you've got to learn to deal with tension better. When the only tool you use the hammer you can to treat everything as if it were a nail. So hopefully in my presentation I've given you lots of things to think about, lots of things to practice, etc. I want to end today, we have some time for questions.
Sure.
Okay, and then I want to end with an inspirational reading as I end all of my talks today. I had suggested to Rosemary earlier, if there is a core group of you, it doesn't matter how many, and we want to put together like maybe a 4-week successful aging program, we could certainly do it, because I'm in New York half the week. Also, if any of you want to work with me individually, I have a practice in New York on Friday, so there's some different ways we could keep some excitement going about this. So we can think about that. Okay, who has a question? Oh, no, I haven't inspired anyone.
I have a comment about where I live, which is Upper West Side, 135th Street, which is Spanish Harlem. And there are vegetables that I've never seen before that people are eating. And those people, I will say, are the nicest people I've ever met. And I think there's a strong connection.
You know what some of the vegetables are?
I don't even know. One of them, aloe vera. You know what aloe vera is?
Yeah, you put it on your skin.
They have them like a foot and a half long, and they're cooking them, and they're eating them, and they touch, they handshake, they hug. The women touch each other's hands. I really think that meat is a real killer. I mean, especially if it's full of everything. And I think the food that the American team are making everybody more and
Yes.
more artistic.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And this is a great example of living right now.
So you're blessed where you live.
Yes, I'm very happy.
It sounds like a very spiritual community also.
It is.
Yeah.
Hi, I just have one issue with exercise.
Yes.
It always is a stumbling block for me because I can't do any exercise based on bad knee, bad hip, a lot of things. Are you trying to do that? I have not. I thought everything else I've tried makes it worse. So I don't know if I've been a little weary about yoga. And can't move. And there's really no one that has a solution for this.
Well, the yoga I do is very simple. Everybody in my program can do the yoga. And they have arthritis pain and everything else, but people will sit up after yoga and say, oh, my back feels good, but my hips feel better. But you have to find the right kind of yoga class. It has to be very simple, hatha yoga, just the very basics. And what you learn from Robin's Left, you can also practice Tai Chi. Okay, but anyway, I would suggest yoga.
She could do, there's a water aerobics for
You can do water aerobics. Yes, you can do water aerobics.
Did you say hatha yoga? Hatha yoga?
Hatha yoga. Hatha yoga is the simplest. But I think you can do that. Water aerobics is good, but you can water supports you.
This might sound trivial, but it's driving me crazy. And
It's driving me crazy.
And nobody can answer it, either doctors or instructors. I like to do yoga. When I'm upside down for too long, I think I'm so easy. And I try to work hard because I want to keep doing it. But it's so annoying. Why do people, when they're upside down, I don't know.
I don't know. It has something to do with blood flow, I would guess.
Yeah.
It's when you're doing down and down.
You don't have to do that. There's so much
Yes.
extra.
Well, there's so much
Yeah. Don't do those. I would say it probably has something to do with blood flow, blood pressure, something like that. Yeah.
Sometime when I wake up in the morning, I say, twice, arms, two legs, two breasts. Hey, I got them.
Say that again?
When I wake up,
Yes.
I say, two eyes, two arms, two legs, two breasts. They ain't perfect, but I got them.
Great.
Great. And when I work with people, I was on WORTV, and the segment was how to deal with toxic colleagues and clients.
Yes.
And when I work with people, I say, do you know how many I saw one in the subway, a young soldier, he had below his both shoulders, he only had 4 inches of arm. And I tell people, these kids are coming home with
Yes.
scrambled brains
Yes. Yes.
and no legs, 21 years
Yes.
old,
Yes, it's
how to
horrible.
pitch and mold
Exactly.
because the hair didn't come out right this time. You got hair.
And that goes back into your
Yes.
The experiment that St. Evans did, where you had three groups. So one was focused on gratitude, the other on criticism.
It was a gratitude study, and one group kept gratitude journals, writing down every day things that they're grateful for. The second group, they just wrote about things that they wanted to, the sun was out today, I walked around a little, just sort of like, nothing too big. And this was nasty
But
stuff.
basically, they were all the same to begin with.
Yes.
Just after the
Yes,
experiment.
after they kept the gratitude journals, they were happier and optimistic, took better care of